Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome po sa ating 149th episode, 149 episode of Stop COVID Deaths webinar series brought to you by the University of the Philippines. Thank you for being part of our credible online community. And to all those who have just discovered us, welcome po. At sana po marami po kayong matutunan sa ating webinar for today. Robotic surgery has revolutionized the field of healthcare, enabling surgeons to perform complex procedures with enhanced precision, dexterity, and minimal invasiveness. As the Philippines continues to embrace technological advancements in medicine, we aim to shed light for today's webinar on the applications, benefits, and future prospects of robotic surgery in the Philippines. At isa na po rito sa mga hospital na mayroon pong ganito is the Philippine General Hospital. They use robotic surgery, also called robot-assisted surgery, a type of surgery that allows many types of complex procedures with more precision, flexibility, and control that is possible with conventional techniques. It is often associated with minimally invasive surgery and procedures performed through tiny incisions for faster healing. Dito po, yung robot po, it does not really think of on its own, but the surgeon is the one who controls po yung mga robotic arms while seated at a console near the operating table, and the console gives the surgeon a high-definition magnified 3D view of the surgical site. So for today, we'll be tackling all about these things, how to operate yung sa robotic systems, ano ba yung mga kailangang paghandaan siguro ng mga pasyente kung kayo man po ay nasabihan na mag-undergo ng ganitong klaseng surgery. I'm Dr. Raymond Francis Sarmiento, Director of National Telehealth Center, National Institutes of Health, University of Philippines, Manila. Always a pleasure to be with all of you during our regular Friday, and always happy to get to share hosting duties with our adjunct research faculty and internationally renowned public health communications expert, Dr. Susie Pineda Mercado. Dr. Susie?
Hi, Raymond. Good afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. We'd like to welcome all of you who are with us on Zoom, those who are watching on the playback, those who are watching on TVUP YouTube channel, UP System Facebook page, TVUP Facebook page, Stop COVID Deaths Facebook page, ang daming Facebook page, Raymond, no? And all of those who are watching on TVUP Signal TV channel 101. So we are also on mainstream television. So in this webinar, we have the rock stars of robotic surgery in the Philippines. So wag kayong aalis. They are going to share their valuable insights, experiences, and clinical outcomes achieved through robotic-assisted procedures. The speakers will discuss the various subspecialties where robotic surgery has made significant strides, including urology, general surgery, etc. So we don't have one presenter, but we have several presenters. And as we always say, at Stop COVID Deaths, we bring you the best. And so these are truly the rock stars of robotic surgery. Ngayon nyo lang makikita dito po sa ating Stop COVID Deaths. They will also address the economic implications of adopting robotic surgery, including cost-effectiveness analysis and potential long-term savings. Okay, so our speakers, only the best. Dr. Nico J. Magsano, who is Chair of Robotic Surgery. Dr. Sylvia Karina L. Alip, who is Robotic Surgery Coordinator. Dr. Dennis Serrano, previously served as Chief of two divisions, the Division of Urology and the Division of Transplant Surgery. Dr. Hermogenes Monroy III, former Chief of the Division of Colorectal Surgery. Nako, ito pong mga ito talagang, they are the names, the big names in surgery. And we are just so honored that they're here today. They prepared, and they're going to share with you some of the latest technology that's being used at the Philippine General Hospital, but I understand also being used in other parts of the country. Our synthesis and closing remarks will be delivered by the head of the PGH Office of Expanded Education and Training, Dr. Stella Marie Jose. And as you've seen in our opening billboard, we have transitioned to broader discussions. We do talk about COVID. And I recall, Raymond, that nung nasunog yung PGH, naalala mo yun, Raymond? Nung nasunog yung PGH, I can't remember if it was Rodney or Gap. Na after everyone was saved, they had to save the equipment, the robotic surgery equipment, no? So, I think, well, we're not talking about COVID right now, but we are talking about other infections, disasters, viruses and all kinds of important topics in health. And so this one is going to be equally important, and I'm sure you're going to want to watch the replay. But before that, we know that you are all keen on hearing the latest news from here and abroad, and it's for this reason that we bring you the news update.
Okay, for our very first news update po, no? And something na very, very up po yung na ano po natin for today's news update. The European Commission and the World Health Organization, they've launched a landmark digital health initiative to strengthen global health security. So in June 2023, this month po, no, the World Health Organization will take up the European Union System of Digital COVID-19 Certification. Yung pong mga vaccert po natin, it follows po, it's compliant with the EU DCC. So what this means is that they want to establish a global system that will help facilitate global mobility and protect citizens across the world from ongoing and future health threats, including pandemics. And this will serve as the first building block of the WHO Global Digital Health Certification Network that will develop a wide range of digital products to deliver better health for all. So that is my news, and hopefully it's something that will be able, since digital health is very close to my heart, that will be able to implement, including for the Philippines eventually. How about you, Dr. Susie?
Okay, so WHO is launching the Global Research Agenda to catalyze all research on integration of climate and health action. The Research for Action on Climate Change and Health Agenda, or REACH 2035, will establish shared forward-looking research priorities to meet the evidence needs of policymakers, program implementers, and advocates in protecting against and responding to the health impacts of climate change. Climate change is one of the leading challenges of the 21st century. In fact, Raymond, next week, we have a special policy forum on climate change on Stop COVID. So it's timely that we're reporting on this and that there's increasing interest, not just in gaining new knowledge, but finding out what kind of action is needed to prevent deaths and protect lives because of climate change. Okay, so next week we'll be back with more news from here and abroad on the news update. Okay, so we're back. We're back, Raymond, and I think we have one more piece of news. Isa pa ba tayong news, Raymond?
Oh, we have one more piece of news, and this is a tribute po for one of the Halige, one of the pillars of the Stop COVID Deaths webinar series. We'd like to extend our sincerest congratulations to the new Secretary of Health, Dr. Teodoro Herbosa po, no? I'm sure every one of you knows that he was newly installed last Monday only, and he really is hitting the ground running already in terms of making sure that we're back on track in implementing universal healthcare. So congratulations kung nanonood kayo SOH, congratulations po at maraming salamat sa inyong contribution.
Palakpakan.
Yan.
Okay.
Yan.
So congratulations, sariling atin, ha? I mean, you've seen Ted here, and we're hoping that one of these days he's going to be back to talk about, what's important to him. Congratulations to Ted. Now, we are going to have our persons on the street, but before that, we would like to welcome back again another Haligi of Stop COVID Deaths. When this thing started, Ted and I and this person talked about what can we do, to help our frontliners. And so, welcome back, PGH Director, Dr. Gap Ligaspi. Gap, welcome.
Good morning. I think yata ma-start yung video ko.
Wala kang video, Gap.
Okay, sir. Go ahead. Sige, sir.
Good morning. Nice to see you again, Susie. Very much.
Uy.
Sige, sir. Go ahead with your...
Kaya tagap eh.
Sorry, nakalimutan ko na yung spiel ko. So I'm really happy to be back here. I'm even happier to see that this is ongoing, despite the developments of COVID and everything that it has affected in our lives. But I think as we count the many good things that have happened because of COVID, this is one of them. Now, we continue to have this webinar now based on TVUP. We are reaching more people and with more varied topics. And I'm happy to give to welcome all of you to a very dear topic close to my heart, which is robotic surgery. Not because I'm a robotic surgeon, but because maybe the story that will unfold in the next few minutes will tell you why we went to this. No? Susie and Raymond, I think you very well know that one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest challenges in healthcare is inequity. No? Pag pumunta ka sa mga private hospital, parang walang problema ang Pilipinas sa health, di ba? Pero pag pumunta ka sa mga government hospital, nakikita mo yung malaking disparity. And I think one way to do that, of course, aside from personnel and service improvement, is technology improvement. Now, when we started running PGH in 2016, we realized ang layo na ng mga ibang hospital, even government hospitals in advancing their technology sa PGH. So, and it all boiled down to, of course, health financing and decision making. So we identified areas where we hope will solve this inequity. Although, of course, there are a lot of problems, we thought that an impact will be felt in a very special service or type of healthcare that will equalize the opportunities for our patients. In fact, when we decided on robotic surgery as one of the first projects of the hospital, I asked our proponents, Dr. Denny Serrano and Dr. Noneng Monroy, to make sure that this serves more charity patients and private patients. And to do that, we had to invest on the consumables, and we were happy to do that because, the first patient of our robotic surgery unit was a jeepney driver. So wow. I guess just for as a statement, I'd like to say that because the experts who started all of this started it in private hospitals, and I think that initial step brought us in the right direction. The story of acquiring the robotic unit is also something I must share, because there was no money intended for it really, because it's quite expensive. But when we were told by the Philippine International Trade Center, PITC, that we had savings from our bidding budget that they were holding for us, enough to cover the robotic unit, enough to cover the amount that we projected for the robotic unit, we started to dream loftily. So nangarap kami at tinawag ko yung kumpanya na ito yung pera namin. Sabi nila, kulang po yung pera ninyo. So sabi ko, paano mapapagkasya? Tatlong kamay lang po, 3 arms lang ang pwedeng ibigay sa inyong pera. O tinawag mo si Dr. Serrano, sabi niya, pwede na yun, magagaling naman yung residente natin, sabi niya. So nagkasya na yung pera, only to find out when they're about to deliver it, sabi, hindi ho papayag ang kumpanya na 3 lang ang kamay. So we're donating the fourth arm, the fourth robotic arm, to the tune of 35 million pesos. No?
Wow.
And that completes the story of us being the first government hospital to have a robotic surgery service. But of course, beyond the technology, I said, is the health equity that we'd like to cultivate in government hospitals. It will cost a lot, but I think the mere fact that when patients come out of this hospital, or any hospital for that matter, feeling that they've gotten the best of the best, will probably make them trust us more and probably spread the word that something's really happening in our healthcare. So yun lang, Susie, I know you know that you know those lines already, but it just bumalik sa isip ko ulit nung pag-uusapan ng robotic surgery. So hopefully, this the next few minutes and hour, you'll see the great work that our dedicated specialists have gone into, and also you'll see the new generation of robotic surgeons that are coming up because of this endeavor. So I think that's our also as administrators, as also our responsibility to make sure that the team B is ready already. That team B of anything that we do is ready already, and I think we are ready for team B already.
Ayan.
So thank you very much, everyone, and I am looking forward to a very fruitful afternoon for us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's Dr. Gap Legaspi, the Director of PGH. Gap, alam namin busy ka, pero talagang alam kong mahal na mahal mo tong robotic surgery, and I think that message on the first patient is a jeepney driver, that's so powerful. I think that really shows the spirit of service and the dedication of the Philippine General Hospital to really reach the poorest of the poor. So thanks a lot, Gap, and we are all excited about the presentation. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to do persons on the street. Raymond, do you want to talk about that? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Director Gap Legaspi, and we'll go ahead with our person on the street po, no? Just to let you know, especially for those who are joining us for the very first time, we set our discussion into context by showing this very short video produced by our TVUP team, and the questions that we pose to the common folks on the street. Ano pong alam po ninyo tungkol sa robotic surgery? During this type of surgery, do you think you are operated on by robot surgeons or human surgeons? Do you think robotic surgery is safe? And do you think the average Filipino can avail of or should have access to robotic surgery? So please watch this.
Robotic surgery basically is a surgical procedure that involves robotic devices, robotic systems.
We allow surgeons to perform more complex surgeries. This will help them be more precise with their operations.
It's a robotic-assisted procedure na kung saan ang surgeon or ang doktor ay gumagamit ng specific control or ang tinatawag nilang master control to perform a more precise and dedicated procedure sa pasyente niya.
More precise and minimally invasive, thus results to reduce risk of infection and shorter hospital stay for the patient.
And as we all know, robotic system cannot think on its own, so basically it's still the human surgeon that does the operation to the patient.
I do think that during these types of surgery, it is still the human surgeon and not the robot surgeon who operates on you. It is still the human surgeon's knowledge and skills with the help of the robotic device that operate on the patient.
Robotic surgery is operated by human surgeons, definitely. And yes, I believe that this is safe. And yes, there is no reason that robotic surgery should not be accessible by average Filipinos.
Since the level of our advanced technology and the skill level of our inventors and our engineers and our doctors, I must say na it's safe now. It's safe enough. And I do think na mas safe pa to in the future for the improvement and development of more robotic surgery.
I also believe that robotic surgery takes a lot of dedication and practice and perseverance for the surgeons to perform it, to perfect it.
As for me, I think that the average Filipino should have an access to the robotic surgery, especially if they badly need it in their case, because robotic surgery actually has many benefits, and one of it is having a fast recovery time, and that itself is enough reason for us to look forward to the robotic surgery, and as well as having the right to have an access onto it.
And I do think that it is safe and that it should be accessible for all Filipinos. However, I also believe that there is still a lot of things that should be studied and explored in this field of medicine.
If this will help the healthcare system in our country and the welfare of the patients in need of it, then I think Filipinos should have access to it.
Wow, very interesting, Raymond. Very well informed yung ating mga person on the street. And we're going to
Marami
do
silang
more.
alam.
Oo. No, so very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. So, you have housekeeping muna, Raymond, before we go to fun
Yes.
quiz? Okay,
Yes,
go ahead.
Dr. Susie. So for those who are asking, certification of attendance po will be given to those who have watched at least 50% of the webinar duration. We have already sent out for webinars 148 pababa all of the certificates of attendance. But if you feel that you should have received pero hindi, including po yung anniversary po natin, please email us at stopcoviddeaths@up.edu.ph. For today's webinar, we'll have our standard panel discussion format, and after our speakers have presented, that will be followed by a Q&A session afterwards. But before we delve into the webinar proper, here is our cute intro video for our fun quiz segment.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Kumusta na kayong lahat?
Hi, I'm Doc Susie, the mini Doc Susie.
And I'm Doc Radar, the mini Doc Raymond. Are you ready to have fun? Simply open your browser to www.slido.com and enter your code to participate. We will discuss your answers during the panel discussion later on in the program.
We will have it flashing on your screen in a bit, and we look forward to your answers. Masaya at madali lang ito. Join na!
Ayun. Thank you so much. TVUP team, can we have it on the screen? Our Slido and our Zoom. Yun, okay. Madali lang po, no? If you can also scan the QR code that's found on the left-hand side of your screen, okay dun po yun. But you can also open up your browsers, type in slido.com, and when you're prompted, enter the code 6510096. That's 6510096 for you to be able to participate in our fun quiz. For today's fun quiz, we have 3 different questions from the Department of Surgery. So first question po, what is robotic surgery? Option A, robotic surgery means robot-assisted surgery or surgery performed by the surgeon with assistance of robots. Letter B, robotic surgery enables a robot to perform surgery without the need for human control and is used to allay issues regarding shortage of physicians. Option C, robotic surgery requires artificial intelligence. And option D, robotic surgery often causes accidents. Accidents and morbidities to the patient po. So we'd like to greet all those who are joining us. Meron po nagpapabate all the way from Bataan. But those who are joining us from the National Kidney and Transplant Institute from Quezon City, from the Southern Philippines Medical Center in Davao City, from Cardinal Santos Medical Center in San Juan, Metro Manila, from the Medical City in Pasig, from Jose B. Lingad Memorial General Hospital, and from Angeles City in Pampanga po. There are those who are joining us from Zamboanga City, from UP Los Baños, maraming salamat po. From Region 4, from Rizal Medical Center, from Bataan, marami po tayong from Bataan, no? From, what do you call this? RPHS, Annex 1 Antipolo, Dr. Menzi Ramos, maraming salamat po. From Air Force City Hospital in Clark Air Base, Mabalacat, Pampanga, maraming salamat din po. There are the University of Rizal System Health Services also here. Thank you so much. Please let us know kung saan po kayo nanonood. For question number 2 reads, which statement is true? Is it A, robotic surgery affords the surgeon a greater range of motion and dexterity compared to laparoscopic surgery? Is it B, laparoscopic surgery has a higher resolution and better visualization compared to robotic surgery? Is it C, robotic surgery uses 2-dimensional vision while most laparoscopic surgeries is performed under 3D vision? Letter D, robotic surgery should be done for all types of surgery. Alin po dito ang tama? We'd like to greet those who are joining us from Quezon City, from Camp Navarro General Hospital, from Zamboanga City po. Maraming salamat. Internationally, meron po tayong nakita, nanonood from Chuanin Hospital in Taipei City in Taiwan, from Luigi Ali University of Blida II in Blida, Algeria, from University of Ha'il in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, from Al Meswak Dental Clinics in Taif, Saudi Arabia, and from Stockton, California po. Maraming salamat po. Pahabol, Quirino Memorial Medical Center Operating Room po. For question number 3. Question number 3 reads, ito medyo madali na po ito. What is the name of the most common surgical robot used around the world? Is it A, Da Vinci? Is it B, iRobot? C, Hinotori? Or D, Hugo Ras? Okay? Hello po for those who are joining us from Iloilo City. We will not be closing this fun quiz po. We will be asking the correct answers from our speakers later on in the segment po. We'll now move on to our webinar proper as Dr. Susie introduces our very first speaker.
Thank you so much, Raymond. And it's my honor to introduce our first speaker, who is the chair of robotic surgery at the Philippine General Hospital Department of Surgery. Let's welcome Dr. Nico Magsano. Nico, welcome.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I'll be sharing my screen. Oh.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Can you see everyone?
Yes, po. Yes, po. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation to speak. I was given exactly 15 minutes to give my talk on the history of the robotic surgery program in the Philippine General Hospital. It will be a pictorial histories. I'm Dr. Magsano, as was mentioned, I'm a urologist. I graduated class in 1995. I'm sure everyone is hungry at this point in time. It's for God's sake, it's 12:15. So who lectures at 12:15? But the last thing I'll show you are graphs or forest plots, I promise you. But I promise to give a simple, basic, graphic, non-cerebral lecture on the history of robotic surgery of program of the Philippine General Hospital. Just a few days ago, I got the call from our chairman, Dr. Berberabe. But he rarely calls me, but he calls me when I have deficiencies in my research or deficiencies in my promotional papers. So I hesitated on answering the call. But we love our chairman so much. Everybody loves him. So I eventually answered the call. So after calling, he after hello sir, yes, he told me, oh, please give a talk this Friday on robotic surgery. I had 2 or 3 days to make the talk. So of course we can't say no to our beloved chairman. So here I am giving the talk on this topic. But I have to admit, I was very busy that time. We were teaching medical students, the residents. We barely had any time, but just like any UP student, we are resourceful. We can do something about it. And just like any academician, in this day and age, we go to ChatGPT. So I only had a few days to make my lecture, so I used ChatGPT, AI, how to make a lecture and how to start a robotic surgery program in a government hospital. It wasn't very helpful at that time, so I just junked it. So I just started to make my own lecture. But I was on this, but I was very baffled why Dr. Legasmi, our director, placed me in this position, heading the robotic surgery program. So I conclude because there are 2 reasons why. First, he knows I love PGH. I love PGH before the war. After the war, I just love PGH. We breathe PGH even after the war. I did my residency. I trained here. I did my medical school here. So we really love PGH. And that's one of the reasons why I think. The second reason is I love toys. I think he knows I love toys. Any toys for that matter. They spark joy. They spark the creativity. I collect toys from my childhood. I collect toys that are movie inspired. I collect toys that are magazine inspired or TV inspired. Or I collect toys that simulate my specialty in urology. Any toy I collect. But perhaps the best toy that we receive here in PGH is, of course, the robot, the Da Vinci surgical system in PGH, which we got in 2019 in March. But so what is a surgical robot in a nutshell? It's going to be explained in another lecture. But in a nutshell, we have a surgeon in a console, which is connected to the robot, which is connected to the patient, which operates surgical arms to do the operation. Here it goes like this. You see the fingers inside this console. And we can do exactly the same thing we do in open surgery. We can cut, we can burn, we can sew. everything we can do, which will simulate open surgery. So it's exactly the same. So it's so precise that we can even peel a grape for that matter. So it's that precise. We at present, what are the things we can do? We can take out the prostate. We can do a hysterectomy. We can take out the gallbladder. We can take out the kidney. We can fix the mitral valve, do colorectal surgery, do bariatric surgery, take out the thyroid, take out the adrenal gland, take out the lungs or any thoracic surgery, or even taking out the pancreas for that matter. We can do almost anything in robotic surgery. And the current benefits are already documented. It reduces, recovery time. It's more precise. There's less pain, and so on and so forth. It'll all be explained later. But it's all documented. It's all there. The worldwide trends for robotic surgery has been increasing since 2016, and it seems to be it's going to increase further as we go down the road. Worldwide, this is distribution of the robots currently installed. In the USA, we have the most number at 3,000 plus. And in Asia, we have 689. But if we go to Southeast Asia, in our region, Thailand has the most number of robots at 13, and the Philippines only 4. So kulelat na naman tayo, just like the medals standing in the recent Cambodia SEA Games. That's sad but true. But I get the Americans are the ones who's going to take credit for inventing the robot. So allegedly it was invented by them. The most famous robot is intuitive surgery, called the Da Vinci robot, which was in question number 1 of your test. But again, I guess the Americans really fool us. They can't fool us. They can't fool us because I was an 80s baby. I was born in the 60s, but I grew up in the 80s. Really, I knew my robots. I knew all the robots. I knew Deimos. If you look at Deimos, it's very similar in principle. He was the arms, the fingers connected to the robot itself to do the movements. It's simulated. It's a master-slave remote. And if we look at the Da Vinci robot, it's exactly the same. Coincidence? Well, I think not. I think the Americans have a lot of explaining to do at this point in time. But on March 5, 2019, finally the robot was delivered to the Philippine General Hospital. But at that time, there was a robot in Medical City. There was a robot at St. Luke's BGC. And the first robot in any government hospital was a robot at the PGH. We were all excited when the boxes came. The smell of new equipment in a box was, bordering on orgasmic. We loved it. We touched the boxes. We observed them, how they installed it. We followed it up to the operating room. Everyone wanted to have pictures with it. The staff, our chairman, the residents, even, our beloved director took part in the frenzy of taking pictures with the robot. This is Dr. Legaspi beside our robot. Not only that, the frenzy went viral also on social media. Everyone posted about the robot. Here, all the posts. The robot literally went viral. However, what went more viral was not the robot, but actually the 200 peso monoblock chair, which we used to man the multi-million peso equipment, which is the robot. So I guess, it's in our DNA as PGH patients na matipid talaga tayo. But there are 3 people we have to thank for why we have a robot at this point in time. First is Dr. Jose Gonzalez, our former director of the Philippine General Hospital. Second is Dr. Legaspi, who gave our director, who gave the opening remarks earlier. And second person is my mentor, Dr. Dennis Serrano, who's our former division chief of the Division of Urology and currently the CEO and president of St. Luke's BGC. The first one, Dr. Gonzalez. How did he get the money? So we have to thank the Republic Act 10-1035 under the Sin Tax Reform Law, where they tax alcoholic beverages and tobacco products, and from the tax, 80% was supposed to be to universal healthcare, and 20% went to healthcare and enhancement facilities, and that's where we got 120 billion in taxes, and from that 120 billion, PGH got 3 billion, and thanks to Dr. Legaspi, who fought Dr. Gonzalez, he was able to get this chunk of 3 billion from the 120 billion fund. So that's where the money came from. The second person we have to thank, as was mentioned, was my mentor, Dr. Dennis Serrano. He was formerly the chief of Division of Urology, but he was the chief at that time, who pitched the idea of getting the robot to Dr. Legaspi because he was a robotic surgeon himself. He single-handedly raised the bar in robotic surgery in the country by doing the most number of radical prostatectomies robotically at the St. Luke's Medical Center. he was the man. He was the one who started it all and who pitched the idea to Dr. Legaspi, who is the third person in the equation. He was our director who supported the program. He was generous. He was supportive. He was always there. He was there from day one. So I remember the time when Dr. Legaspi called me and said, "Okay, Nico, we want you to lead the team of the robotic surgeons." So I remember, I can never forget what he said. He said three statements that I still hold dear to my heart now. The first one, what he said, just because the Philippines is classified as a developing country does not mean its citizens should be limited to developing world medical options. Then he said, "Nico, we should offer top-tier healthcare for all individuals, irrespective of their socioeconomic status." And finally, he said, "Nico, I think we have to offer high-quality healthcare because it is a universal right, not the privileges." I was so inspired. In fact, I was bordering on crying, I have to admit. But with those marching orders from Dr. Legaspi, we started the robotic surgery unit with the thrust of service, research, and training. For service, service is in the DNA of all PGH patients, or for all UP patients, UP people for that matter. So, bahala na ang langit to repay us eventually, but that's how we work. To show that we are service-oriented, 70% of our resources and cases are done in the charity service, and only 30% in the charity cases, private cases. For example, if you go to the private hospitals who have robots, you'll spend an average of 500,000 to 1 million pesos for surgery. But in our charity service patients, our patients practically spend nothing, zero, nothing at all. It's practically free. So I remember when Dr. Legaspi said, we want to give the a GP driver the same operation that a tycoon would get in St. Luke's Medical Center or any other private hospital. And sure enough, our first patient was a GP driver, which I'll explain later. So what is our business model? Actually, we have no business model because it's service. What is our ROI? We don't compute for it because it's quite easy because we're in it for service. So the first charity case, as was mentioned, was a radical prostatectomy on a GP driver last May 27, 2019. We were very prepared for the case. We fumbled a bit. It was fun. We innovated. It was hot, so we had to use fans. All the equipment was ready. Our dean was present. Dr. Dean Chong was there to send well wishes to our surgeon, Dr. Serrano. Our senior consultants were there as well. Of course, Dr. Legaspi was there as well. So we all waited intently and watched and observed watch Dr. Serrano do masterful surgery as he took out the prostate in 2 hours. That's very fast. That's very fast. On an average, 6 hours for most of surgeons. He took it out in 2 hours without a sweat. And here he is holding the prostate. And all of us around him happy and elated with the success of the very first case in the Philippine General Hospital. Our target was to do 100 cases in 1 year, and we're very well on target until the pandemic hit. We were 12 cases short of 100 cases for that year. But we're catching up. To prove that we're catching up, the trends show that we are second in the country next to St. Luke's in cases. So we are well on our way on our target. But for as of 2020, we already did 228 cases, and it is a mixture of both gynecologic, urologic, general surgery, thoracic, and otorhinolaryngology cases. And another thrust of the unit was to be the center of excellence and a training center in the country, or even Asia for that matter. Big dreams, but we hope we're going to get there eventually. So for training, we trained 4 surgeons. We originally trained robotically outside of PGH, but then we further trained more surgeons, female surgeons, urologists, gynecologists, general surgeons, and at present we are able to train 18 surgeons for the whole team. So 18 surgeons doing all the cases. Top on the list, of course, who brings in the bacon is aside from Dr. Serrano, is Dr. Monroy, Dr. Tony Perez, and of course, Dr. Rodi Dufitas. We increased training. We are investing in training because, it will increase utilization. We also have to thank our partners, the distributor, in helping us do this. But again, increasing utilization equates from increasing training, people who are trained. We only didn't train the doctors, but we also train our nurses. They're part of the equation. They are a major part of the equation. We train them. We train them well. We train them with with our foreign trainers. But the problem is, so at present we only have 13 robotic nurses. The problem is, again, the turnover rate of these nurses are quite high, but you can't blame them. Greener pastures. However, after they train here, they're more marketable because they have robotic training. So good for them as well. Aside from that, we also train our residents. Residency, it's already included most of our residency programs in OB and urology. And look here, being advertised in the poster of OB Gynecology, the robotic program. And here's when Dr. Alip, one of our speakers, who was still a resident at that time, doing her first robotic prostatectomy, the first resident who did a case for that matter. We also did some research. There's a lot of research in the pipeline. There was a research already published and already presented. But we were resourceful. We had to be resourceful. We were resourceful enough to create our high-tech scheduling, format, which is just paper and a simple calendar. But it worked for us for that time. But of course, now we have to upgrade. We have upgraded. We had to use, smart use of our resources because they were finite, and we didn't know how long Dr. Legaspi would be there, and the life of the robot is only just a few years. But we had to be smart with our resources. And related to our resources, a lot of people asked how much the robot was. So, to give you some context, if you're familiar with the SEA Games, if you're familiar with the Cauldron or the famous Caldero, which was, quite controversial. So one Caldero plus another Caldero equals one robot. So that's how much it is. Yeah. So, but we had a lot of problems. But we had really fun fumbling around in solving all those problems. But in the end, we actually did it. We were able to start the program. We are on track in hitting our targets. Just like PGH, when it was war-torn, we were, they rose from the ashes and eventually emerged to what it is now, stronger. So as to end, I'd like to say, because all of this, we want PGH to be not the last resort, but the first option in having surgery in the country. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you so much. That's Nico Magsano. My goodness, thank you. Wonderful, simple. I appreciate your candor and how you have told this story, which is really an eye-opener for all of us, how it started and how new things are developing in PGH. So maraming salamat. You're going to see on the chat the appreciation of our audience and all these hearts and thumbs up that are flying. Thank you so much, Nico. Raymond, let's go to our next presenter.
Thank you, Dr. Susie, and thank you to Dr. Magsanok for giving us a glimpse into the history of robotic surgery in the Philippine General Hospital po. Just to let everyone know, we are encouraging everyone to put in your questions, and we'll be choosing the upvoted questions from the list of questions that we have here, but not just here in the Zoom, but also in the comment section of Stop COVID Deaths and the Facebook pages of TVUP and Stop COVID Deaths, as well as the TVUP YouTube channel. Now on to our second speaker. For our second speaker po, she's the PGH Robotic Surgery Coordinator and also from the same department, the Department of Surgery. So please give a warm virtual welcome to Dr. Sylvia Karina Alip. Dr. Via.
The Research and Training Coordinator for Robotic Surgery of the UP Philippine General Hospital. I'm a urologist by profession. And we're going to be discussing today the current service capacity of our National University Hospital, as well as future plans for training and research. But before that, I'm sure our audience has quite a number of questions in their minds, and I'd like to address those first before we move on to the nitty-gritty of the matter. So first off, the most basic question of all, what is robotic surgery? Will the robot actually replace the surgeon in the operating room? With the advent of ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, and this onslaught of movies that are post-apocalyptic regarding robots, There can be a certain hesitancy when we involve technology in something as important as health, even more so surgery. But the short answer is, of course, no. Your surgeon will be in the operating room, and the robot is just a tool that's used by your surgeon, just like any other tool that we already use, to make sure that there's more precision and flexibility during your operation. So strictly speaking, as was mentioned, robotic surgery is a surgical procedure that adds a computer technology enhanced device, which is the robot, to the interaction between a surgeon and a patient during a patient's operation. So the key here is that the robot assumes some degree of control that was previously just reserved for the surgeon. The most well-known robots are under the classification of telemanipulator robots. They exist in a master-slave configuration where active motion is provided by the surgeon. In the left of the screen is a picture of the surgeon in what's called the surgeon console. His action is transformed or modified by the robot in various degrees or for various aspects such as those mentioned. The proprietary Da Vinci, which is manufactured by Intuitive Surgical in particular, has the following modifications. They have actuated arms and the wrist instruments that behave similar to the human wrist. They have 3D endoscopy, which affords stereoscopic vision in the field, as well as elimination of tremor and motion mapping. This next question is a bit tough to answer. The question reads, is robotic surgery better than open surgery? And the answer is, although there are definite advantages, the superiority of robotic surgery has not been proven. That is to say, of course, that although superiority has not been proven, non-inferiority is already relatively established, meaning between open and robotic surgery, it's usually the same oncologic outcomes and the same functional outcomes. Usually, there is a trend for a shorter hospital stay, lower blood loss, and faster convalescence in general with a minimally invasive technique such as robotic surgery. Of course, the caveat is it's a relatively new surgery. That means a lot of surgeons performing the surgeries are in their learning curve. So who's to say what the future may hold as regards statistical significance between the two modalities? Of course, being in a university-based hospital, all our surgeries are done taking into account the amount of evidence or the evidence behind each procedure. This next question reads, can all surgeries be done robotically? And the answer is technically yes, but it does come with a certain cost-to-benefit ratio that we should be able to justify for our patients. So currently, these are the most common procedures performed in PGH under robotic assistance, and most of them, as you may see, are for cancers where the cost-to-benefit ratio is justifiable. Of course, the undeniable advantage of working in a government-funded institution is that also it serves as an incubator for new technique and for innovation. So we are lucky that we are able to get funding in making other procedures that are non-cancer available for our patients under government subsidy. Meaning for public patients, we get to do the surgeries for free or at no cost for the patient. Now we ask a question, what is the difference between robotic and laparoscopic surgery? And the answer is robotic surgery is indeed a type of laparoscopic surgery, but with the added benefit of a robot. Although both laparoscopy and robotic surgery come with small incisions, robotic surgery uses a 3-dimensional or stereoscopic camera, while laparoscopy uses a 2-dimensional camera. In robotic surgery, there is a high degree of dexterity with 360-degree wristed instruments, while laparoscopy is quite infamous for rigid instruments that require long axis and decreased maneuverability. In robotic surgery, the surgeon sits at the console, while in laparoscopy, the surgeon is at bedside for easier access to the patient. In laparoscopy, long instruments need triangulation, making it difficult to access hard to reach areas. The same is not true for robotic surgery. Of course, we pay for this newer technology with a higher cost. This next question reads, I want to have robotic surgery done in PGH. What's the process? Actually, the best thing to do is to ask your current doctor regarding whether or not robotic surgery is a possible option for you. But also, another option would be to reach out and scan the QR code or visit the link I included in the screen and send us your inquiry. I think this is the last question. It reads, I am a surgeon and want to learn how to do robotic surgery. Can I enroll in PGH? So actually, that's a great question. It leads us into our future vision for the PGH Robotic Surgery Center. Actually, currently, we're in the process of drafting the backbone for the training program. We'll probably most likely open it to PGH surgery alumni first. So currently, it's still not ongoing, but you are more than welcome to refer your patients in private practice and participate in the patient surgery here in PGH. So to do that, you can scan the QR code and tell us more about your case, and a member of our department will reach out to you to discuss the process and to advise your patient. So this is more about the training program we're building. So it's a partnership with DTG, the licensed distributor of Intuitive Surgical's Da Vinci robots, for an equivalency training program. It's called the R-STAR, or Robotic Surgery Training and Referral Program of PGH. So it's a groundbreaking idea of not having to go abroad to train and be credentialed for robotic surgery. So hopefully that's in the horizon for our division here in PGH. So now for the second part, although the training program is still in the works, the service delivery of PGH is in full swing. PGH is one of 4 hospitals in Manila that have a robot, and of course it is the only one in those 4 that is government or publicly funded. Our current capacity is maximum of 1 robot case a day, and we're starting to reach 15 cases a month. That's 0.75 cases per working day. Of course, the goal of research and training is always towards service. We expect an increase in service delivery and, of course, service quality. We hope to be able to increase capacity to more than 1 case by the end of this year for each robotic day. Currently, we have around 13 active credentialed surgeons. That's across all specialties: urology, colorectal surgery, head and neck surgery, hepatobiliary, esophagogastric, and gynecology. So we're looking into bringing in more credentialed surgeons. Currently, we have 2 surgeons who are under DTG training here in the hospital. And of course, our auxiliary team, we have 17 robotic nurses who are very generous and who help us with our cases. I'd like to end this short presentation with, of course, what is the vision of the UPPGH Robotic Surgery Division and the Department of Surgery. We envision the first robotic training center in the country finding its home here in the UP Philippine General Hospital. Of course, there are many elements that will help make this vision a reality. One is, of course, state-of-the-art equipment. I think we are in the process of procuring the more advanced model, the Da Vinci Xi, thanks to the invaluable support of our director, Dr. Legaspi. We are looking into bringing in more subspecialties such as thoracic and pediatric surgery to help bring in more cases. As our learning curve eventually plateaus, we also expect to increase our OR efficiency and, of course, increase the manpower that we have by training more affiliate healthcare workers such as our robotic nurses. Also, one of the most important things in building a training program is faculty investment. We are in the process of training the trainers to ensure that the program becomes sustainable. Before we begin to think of residency or fellowship training, it's important to invest in our faculty. As most of the hospitals will follow suit, an important thing in quality assurance is outcomes research. We are indeed excited for the data, and we look forward to using this data for the improvement of our services. Thank you for listening. If you have any suggestions or further questions or collaborations, you can reach me at my listed email. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Via. Very interested po, no? Kasi I think that would be the very first time that we'll have robotic surgery training at the Philippine General Hospital, Dr. Susie.
Oo, tsaka Raymond, no? Parang they are spreading or expanding the work, no? So I think this is really so important that people don't need to go abroad to train. So thank you so much, Dr. Alip, for that. And again, you'll see the appreciation of our audience in the chat box. All right. Our next speaker. Our next speaker, of course, he was just introduced to you earlier as the surgeon who did the first procedure, a prostatectomy at PGH. He's very well known in the urology sector. He's known for his leadership, not just at the Philippine General Hospital, but at St. Luke's. So it is my honor to introduce the former division chief of two PGH surgery divisions, Division of Urology and the Division of Transplant Surgery. Let us welcome Dr. Dennis Serrano. Dennis, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, Doc Susie, Doc Raymond.
Good afternoon,
thank you for inviting me. I think maybe I can have the PGH surgery staff play the background the video. I'm not going to give you a lecture. These were very well covered by my two colleagues, Dr. Magsanok and Dr. Via Alip. Just to give you the background, we've started the robotic program in the Philippines as early as 2010, and we've been doing this for the past 13 years. Of course, PGH is the highest accruing center for robotic procedures. No, just to give you an idea, this is how the robot is docked to the patient, and then just to give also the audience the idea of how we do it. But generally, I think what I need to impart to the audience is that, number one, this is now standard of care for prostatectomy, for prostate procedures. It is fast becoming standard of care. Ito na po ang procedure of choice for colorectal procedure, low colorectal surgeries, also as Dr. Monroy will attest to later on. And really, yung advantage ng minimally invasive, konting butas-butas lang, the advantage of preservation of function, importante po for prostatectomy. Lahat po ng pasyente nag-concern, kami ba ay makakapag-control ng pag-ihi pagkatapos tanggalin yung prostate? Kami po ba ay magkakaroon pa ng erection, sa mga medyo bata-batabang mga pasyente na nagkakaroon ng prostate cancer? Ito po ang promise ng robotic surgery, preservation of function together with total extirpation of cancer. And yan po ina-achieve na natin pati po sa partial nephrectomy sa kidney cancer. Ngayon ginagawa po ito for myomas and hysterectomies, even for radical hysterectomy ginagawa na rin. So it's all start with the vision of Dr. Legaspi bringing state-of-the-art, cutting-edge technology to PGH patients. Ang tingin ko po, wala pong makakapantay doon sa vision na yon na naging naging focal point nung start ng pag-uumpisa ng robotic surgery program in PGH. Yan po is something that was unprecedented. Maski ako po nagulat nung sinabi ni Dr. Legaspi na ibibili ko kayo ng robot. Kami po ay talagang nagulat at natuwa in the same breath. and we were all excited. And right now, I'm also excited to tell you that the population of robotic surgeons has grown. We have very accomplished surgeons in PGH. Wala na pong hihingin yung mga pasyente natin in as far as skill, in as far as dedication, in as far as compassionate care to patients is concerned, no? Dito sa ating ospital sa PGH. So kami po ay excited, kami po ay natutuwa na itong technology na to ay dinala po ni Dr. Legaspi sa ospital natin. And I will put him on the spot kasi he promised to get a second machine, which is the latest Da Vinci Xi, no? And that is in the works. Na pinangakuan na po niya kami. At alam niya naman po, pag si Dr. Legaspi nangako, ito'y hindi napapako. But for the patients, as just to reiterate, ito na po ang standard of care. And this is going to be the standard of care in the future, in the fast and very soon future. No? It's just counting a few years. And ito po ay nasa PGH, ito po ay nasa UP, ito po ay ino-offer na natin to everyone, even to the least of our countrymen in terms of economics, but really the one who deserve the most. Kasi these are the ones whom PGH is really dedicated for, no? So yan po ay service na ino-offer natin ng libre na sa mga pasyente ng PGH, no? Sabi nga ni Dr. Magsano, zero yung gagastusin, and again that is through the efforts of our beloved director Dr. Legaspi. The training goes on, wala pong humpay ang training namin ng mga siruhano. Kompleto na po ang Division of Urology, Division of Colorectal Surgery, and under the leadership of Dr. Berberabe, the whole Department of Surgery is geared towards giving you state-of-the-art, minimally invasive surgery with the best possible outcomes. Yun lang po, hindi ko na po i-belabor yung point. You know, this is something that our citizens, our countrymen will benefit from, and we are ready to accept the challenge of giving this service to them. Yun lang, Doc Susie, Doc Raymond, more power to TVUP, and we'll be ready for the questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Serrano. Nako, nothing tells the story like a good video, and I think this is really state-of-the-art, cutting-edge. Nakakataba ng puso to think that we're doing it for those who cannot afford it. No, I mean, this is really so, what should I say? So inspiring. And again, you'll see our audience is appreciating your video and all the quiet work you've been doing through these years to bring our medical technology to this level. So Raymond, Raymond, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Serrano, and thank you for the important work that you're doing, sir. Sige, okay po. For our final presenter for today, last but not the least po, no, our fourth speaker is the former division chief of the PGH Department of Surgery's Division of Colorectal Surgery. Also, he currently heads the Quality and Safety Committee of the Department of Surgery. So please give a warm virtual welcome to Dr. Hermogenes Monroy III, Dr. Noneng.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Doc Susie and Doc Raymond, and of course to the TVUP listeners. I'll be talking about our experience in UPPGH about the robotic approach in rectal cancer surgery. And as we all know, colorectal cancer is one of the top cancers in the Philippines and globally. So it's number 3, very close to lungs, which is second. So we see a lot of patients particularly with rectal cancer. And this condition is probably the most difficult to operate among the cancer diseases that we have. And with the help of this robotic platform or technology, the procedure has been facilitated or improved. Particularly the outcomes, this has been mentioned earlier, faster recovery, faster healing, smaller wounds, but very important for us as colorectal surgeons is less infection, surgical site infection. Because as we all know, the intestine contains the fecal material. So any infection will be usually severe or deep in the surgical site of the surgical wounds. So I'll just be presenting our story in the division of colorectal surgery, our experience in robotic surgery. So we started in 2019. We started on the right track, meaning the approach in training was very scientific. We started with online modules, wet lab training, and simulations. And we have to overcome or achieve the learning curve first before we start on actual patients. So besides the online course and simulation, we observe experts abroad. We requested for proctorships from a well-experienced robotic colorectal surgeon, and then we have to audit our outcomes, particularly our initial patients. And another important aspect, of course, the team training. So not only the surgeons are trained, we also trained our nurses, the anesthesiologists. So together we have some workshops about the steps to be followed and the right troubleshooting for this new technology during the time. And I had to personally go to Korea to observe 3 cases of Professor Sean Han Kim in Korean University in Seoul. And then when we prepared our first 2 cases, we're fortunate to have a Phil American surgeon from George Washington University. Now it's also a visiting professor in our department, Professor Vincent Obillas. So he assisted us, Dr. Lopez, our current division chief, and yours truly, on our first 2 cases. So since then, we have accumulated 61 cases. We, of course, as mentioned earlier, during the pandemic, we stopped doing robotic surgery for a year or more than a year. But now we're catching up again. So we already did 61 cases of rectal cancer. And these are the breakdown of the different procedures. So we did 31 low anterior sections, and 3 of these have lateral pelvic lymph node dissection, which I will show later, video of the procedure. 10 coloanal anastomosis, 12 abdominoperineal resection, 6 eye anterior resection for upper rectal cancers, and extended Hartmann's procedure for cases where you usually have contraindications for anastomosis. So these are difficult cases to do in open and laparoscopic surgery, and also in robotic surgery, but we can perform better dissection, better quality of specimen with this robotic approach. So I'll show an illustrative case, video of a case. A 41-year-old male, unfortunately one of our young alumnus, who had rectal bleeding for 2 years and was diagnosed to have rectal cancer, 7 cm from the anal verge, clinically stage 3B by colonoscopy, CT scan, and MRI. So he underwent the new approach of Rapido protocol, which consists of short course radiation therapy of 5 sessions and then 6 sessions of chemotherapy prior to surgery. Next. So after the total neoadjuvant therapy, the patient had a good response prior to surgery, and we planned a robotic approach, robotic assisted LAR, total mesorectal excision with diverting loop ileostomy. So we positioned the patient on a lithotomy, Lloyd Davis position with arms on the side. And then we have the patient on stiff Trendelenburg position with the right side down. And these are the usual port placements. So we put the camera on above the umbilicus and the 3 other robotic arms, usually 2 on the left side and 1 on the right side, and then another 2 for the assistant. Okay. So we dock the robot after we place the robotic ports. This was shown by Dr. Serrano earlier on how to dock. So this is the actual procedure inside. So this is the right side of the pelvis of the patient. We're looking at the rectum down to the pelvis. So we usually dissect first the IMA or the inferior mesenteric artery. We're cutting the IMA together with the lymphatic tissue and lymph nodes, and then we also ligate the inferior mesenteric vein. So after doing that, so these are the robotic arms. So we're showing 3 robotic instruments. The surgeon has 3 robotic arms, actually 4, including the camera. So instead of having 2 arms, as a surgeon, you have 2 additional arms. So this is the dissection of the posterior rectum. In this case, usually after chemoradiation and chemotherapy, the tissues are usually fibrotic. After a response, that's the natural response from the neoadjuvant treatment. So dissection is pretty hard, difficult in terms of determining we call it surgical planes because of the fibrosis. So this is facilitated with good 3D vision in robotic surgery. And in male, particularly male pelvis, which is very narrow and quite deep and long, the robotic approach helped us a lot in terms of dissecting the right planes or specimen that needs to be removed without breaking the tumor planes or the spilling cancer cells. And this is the area of the seminal vesicle and the prostate. It looks wide, but if you do this in open, this is a very narrow field. And usually the tissues are bleeds easily. So now we're going to the pelvic floor, and that's your levator muscles already. The red upper area is already your striated muscles of your pelvic floor or levators. So we're able to dissect the rectum and the mesorectum from the pelvic floor, and now we're cutting the distal rectal cuff or the remaining rectum devoid of the mesorectal or the fatty tissue which contains the lymph nodes. So after that, we will be able to connect the colon after cutting the specimen towards that remaining 3 to 4 centimeter of rectal cuff of muscle. So that's how you anastomose intraoperatively. Next slide. So that's the specimen of the rectum together with the lymphatic and the vessels. Next. I'll just show briefly another case. 78-year-old male with the stage 3A rectal cancer, very distal, 3 centimeter from the anal verge, almost involving the anal sphincter. But in this case, we have enlarged or a pathologic lymph node outside the rectum, which is in the iliac area. And we need to remove this for cure or better outcome and survival. Next. So we need to do a procedure, what we call lateral pelvic lymph node dissection. This is probably one of the most complex procedures that a surgeon can do. And it's difficult and very bloody in open surgery and also in laparoscopic surgery. But because of the advantages of robotic technology, we're able to do this with very minimal complication or morbidity. So as you can see, we need to dissect. This used to be we call what a no man's land for surgeons, because there are very big vessels, nerves, and lymphatic tissue that can be easily injured or cut. So we expose the different vessels and lymph nodes, and then we dissect and remove this lymphatic tissue. Later, you'll see the lymph node that we were able to remove that was seen in the MRI. So that's the external iliac vein, which can easily bleed. So that's the lymph node. That's the pathologic lymph node seen in the MRI. So with this magnification and good vision, we can see those structures that are very deeply located and small in configuration. Okay, we can. So that's the specimen removed after abdominoperineal resection, plus the lymphatic tissue removed from the iliac, right iliac node area. I think that's the last slide. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Dr. Monroy. My goodness. I'm blown away by that video, Raymond.
video.
No? Parang, sabi ko nga, ang galing, sir. Ang galing-galing. Sabi ko nga, it's almost like, kunyari, magbubunot ka ng kilay, di ba? Hindi mo bunutin yung kilay mo na wala kang tiyan. You know what? So, seeing how small the operating field is, no? And how precise it can be done. This is really so, what should I say? It's amazing, really amazing. So thank you so much, Dr. Monroy, for that presentation, for the video, and for spending time with us. I'm sure, again, you will see the appreciation of the audience for your sharing this. And we look forward to hearing about more when we go into the Q&A. Maraming salamat. Raymond, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Monroy, and thank you, Dr. Susie. So right now po, we'll be asking all of our panelists, speakers, Dr. Gap Legaspi, Dr. Nico, Dr. Via, Dr. Dennis, Dr. Noneng, to open up your videos as we prepare for our Q&A session. But before that,
Raymond, dapat kasama rin si Eric Berberabe. Where is the chair?
we invited, nandiyan ba si Sir? Oh, yan. Sir Eric, sama ka, Sir.
Nandiyan yung chair ng Department of Surgery. Okay, game. Sige,
Okay.
go Raymond.
But before that, we'll have just a 2-minute break lang po for a very special public service announcement for today.
O sige na, anak. Parang kagat lang ng langgam. Hantik o yung kumikiliti lang. Ito naman, parang hindi ka pa nababakunahan dati. Akala ko pa naman, brave girl ka. Nakakahiya na kay Doc.
Okay lang po, nanay. Ay, ang cute naman ng shirt mo. Favorite color ko rin yan.
Doc, favorite ko rin po ang color nito. Pero ayoko po ng red hantik. Masakit kumagat at takot rin po ako sa blood. Magtudugo po ba ako sa bakuna?
Ah, hindi. Walang dugo sa bakuna. Konting pisil lang, tapos na.
Kakasugat ba ako, Doc?
Hindi ka magkakasugat. Lalagyan lang natin ng plaster pagkatapos para safe. Di ba nabakunahan ka na rin ng contra measles at chickenpox dati? Parang ganun lang din ang bakuna para sa COVID-19.
Natatakot pa rin ako, Doc.
Alam mo ang secret sa pagiging brave. Hindi ibig sabihin na wala kang kinatatakutan. Kundi, kahit natatakot ka, hinaharap mo pa rin ito.
Okay. Ready na po ako, Doc.
Una, pupunasan ko muna ng bulak na may alkohol ang braso mo. Okay? Tapos, mabilis lang na konting... Ayos! Tapos!
Tapos na, anak. Pwede mo nang buksan ang mga mata mo.
Nay, sabi sa inyo, brave girl na po ako eh.
O, heto ang prize para sa'yo, ha? Wow! Bagay sa shirt mo. That's the color of bravery.
Color rin yan for love. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Nay. Dahil ako po ay mahal ninyo, nagpabakuna na ako.
Kaya mga bata, magpabakuna na kayo.
Stay safe and stay well. Mga bata, magpasama na sa Bakuna Center. Thank you so much, TVUP. The COVID Communication Public Service Announcement is one of the many creative outputs of the Stop COVID team to push for pediatric vaccination for children aged 5 and above. Please share this video clip with all of your social media accounts. Stay safe and stay well. Magpasama na po sa Bakuna Center. Okay, Dr. Susie, let's get the ball rolling.
Okay, there are a lot of interesting questions, both in the chat and in the Q&A box. But I don't want to ask a question for everybody because we have a lot of speakers today. So I'm going to have a very pointed question lang, maybe for Chair of the Department, Eric Berberabia, for Dr. Alip, and maybe for Dr. Serrano. No? What does this all mean for the training in surgery? It looks like you've shown so many examples of the use, di ba? So what does it mean for future training in surgery? So if you had a crystal ball, you're looking into the future, what would it look like? And can we, what should I say? How can we, I know Gap is in the audience, so I'm going to ask Gap also, no? Parang how do we move this forward in a big way? We'll start first with Eric, and then maybe Dr. Alip, and then Dr. Serrano and Gap. Go ahead.
Yes, actually, when we were thinking of a title for today's webinar, that was one of our choices. So sabi nga namin is the future of surgery at the palm of our hands. It's already at our doorstep. It's happening in the globe, around the globe. And PGH, as the premier training university of the country, I think we should be leading the country in training future residents. And we're just very thankful that the director has been very, this is his passion. Sabi nga niya, hindi naman siya robotic surgeon, but well, he bought us one of the toys that is a prerequisite for starting this training. And mabuti na lang, one of our young faculty just came from that, and her passion is also in starting this off. Right, Via?
Yes, sir. I think.
Dr. Alip, what do you think? What's the?
I think the most liberal vision would be for our residents to graduate doubly. So when they graduate, they're credentialed as diplomates of their field and they're doubly credentialed as robotic surgeons. But that's, I think a future vision with the equivalency training program. But currently, of course, our focus is faculty investment because our consultants or our faculty need to be credentialed first before we start to think about residency training. But in the horizon, hopefully when they graduate, they're doubly credentialed both for open and for robotics.
So, Gap, what does that mean? It means na part of the surgical rotation will be robotics. Parang ganun?
I think that's the end goal. Actually, I think it will be the inevitable course of this training. Excuse me. We are, of course, it's very expensive. We're just fortunate that our fiscal position allows us to do this both as service and part of training. But as in most things, I think if this becomes ingrained as a regular service, it will become more affordable. And as we speak, the new models of the robotic systems are coming out, maybe half the price of what it is now.
Correct. The price of the technology will drop, as we, correct.
So if you remember in the past, laparoscopic surgery was a specialty. Now it's just an additional competency for our graduates. Maybe, after Dr. Serrano, the urologists will come out of this institution as robotic surgeons also.
Correct. No, I remember the time when you have to go to Japan or to Germany to study laparoscopy, di ba? Parang ngayon, part na siya, no? Dr. Serrano, what do you think this looks like for training surgeons?
Hindi ako makaisip, Doc Susie, kasi naisip ko nandun silang lahat sa Department of Surgery Office. Sigurado ko may lechon dun eh. Kaya hindi ako masyado.
Ay, naman! Share naman, ba't kayo lang nag-lechon dyan?
So, but I think, ang tanong ko lang dapat, kasi we're all from PGH. We always say that we have the best training program. We always say that we afford our residents the best opportunity to learn. And this is the prime example. I will tell you that the the training program for urology because of this, because of the robot, is the envy of all training programs in urology in the country. For our residents to have hands-on, really hands-on experience. So I think tama si Dr. Gap, tama si Dr. Eric. Ito na yung magiging standard in the future. Where else will it start? Where else should it start? But from the premier training institution in the country. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think it's not about can we afford it. I think it's can we afford not to do it? I don't think so. No, showing all the benefits that you have shown, it is parang kailangan na siya, necessary, no? Necessary. Okay, there's a question here from one of our colleagues, Penji Angangkod Dangilan from the NKTI. She's asking, what is the maintenance cost of the machine per year? Are there generic robot machines already that are cheaper than the Da Vinci? And are they just as good? Okay, I don't know who wants to take the question. Gap, ikaw ba to? Or Eric?
Yung cost muna, the maintenance, we factored in the cost for the 7-year lifespan of the robot. When we bought it in 2019, we factored in the lifespan already. It's end of life siya mga 2025. So we bought all of those. I think it will come to around 7 million a year for the maintenance. We're not talking about the instruments that on a per case basis will cost around between 120 to 160,000 on a charity basis for the instruments alone per patient.
Oh, Penji, 7 million lang a year. Kayang-kaya nyo sa NKTI.
Plus, we're hoping, of course, that this webinar has reached a lot. So baka marami mga donors out there looking for places to be there.
Eric, you'll be surprised na the people who are watching us include our faculty, include donors. Talagang malawak ang inaabot. That's why we're really grateful that you've taken time to explain, because there's no other platform to show this. Walang iba di ba? Tayo lang nakakaalam nito So yes, I hope there's some private sector folks out there listening who might want to help and support, no? Kasi ako ang tingin ko, necessity na siya Di ba? Yung parang how you've shown how you can use it demonstrates that this is something that we cannot not afford to have, di ba? Parang kailangan meron tayo. Okay, Raymond, I think Raymond, you've got some questions there. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Susie. So here, I'll just pick out the one from the most upvoted from Dr. Joseph Tortona. Will the connection between the operator and the robot remain secure from cyber hackers or that sort of thing? Until the procedure is completed daw po.
That's
I think they need to hear it from the surgeons instead of.
Go ahead.
Sige po. Will either Sir Dr. Berberabe or Dr. Nico or Dr. Serrano?
It's free from
yeah. Well, to answer the question, there are many layers of security innately built in the machine. First is an encryption. There's online encryption. Number 2, there's authentication per surgeon. So hacking is quite difficult. Although it's connected to the internet, there's always limited connection during surgery itself. The connection online is limited. Connection will only be limited to to intuitive surgery themselves, should there be any problems for diagnostics or any other corrective measures. So there are at least 3 or 4 layers of security for that.
Okay. Of course, I have a crazy question, right? Pag nawala ng kuryente, paano?
Well,
may buffer ka ba dyan? Na doble generator or what? How does this work?
Well, it has happened a few times. The robot has a battery enough for several hours to take off the instruments, undock the machines, so there's backup power.
Okay. Okay. We have another question here from Mary Joy Denyola. I think I'd like to ask this to Dr. Monroy. It says, I'm just curious, what is the most complicated robotic surgery that was done at PGH so far? I mean, I think one of the examples you gave, you said it was very complicated. No, yung lymphadenectomy na ginawa mo. But is that the one that's the most complicated?
Well, we have done one case of a recurrent rectal cancer. So this is already post-surgery, and then we're still able to do it with the robotic approach. So the open itself will be a very difficult procedure for a recurrent rectal cancer, but we were able to do that. But the most difficult, although it's reported abroad, is the pelvic exenteration to include all the organs, uterus, bladder, the rectum. It can be done robotically, but we have not done yet. Hopefully Dr. Serrano and our team can do it in the near future.
Okay. Again, from Penji, from Romina Dangilan of NKTI. Dennis, have you tried to do donor nephrectomy or recipient transplant surgery with the robot? If not, when do you plan to do it? So, Dr. Dennis is also a transplant surgeon, no? So, nagamit niyo na ba ito for transplant?
We are looking into that already. In fact, we have actually, Penji, you have we have a transplant surgeon who's looking into training already for robotic recipient surgery. I've committed to doing that with him. So he's getting training abroad now. So pagbalik, alam mo, Susie, itong mga bata ang susi eh. They are the key. No, itong mga bata ngayon are the ones who are going to trailblaze everything. Yan, sila Dr. Nico, sila Dr. Avia. We have a lot of young talent in the Department of Surgery, and I'm posing that challenge to them. Inopen na ni Dr. Gap yung floodgates. Kayo na yung mag-trailblaze. But as we speak, yes, Penji, there is an effort to do that for recipient surgery, especially for obese patients, kasi yun yung pinakamaganda ang indication for obese kidney transplants. But again, I want to reiterate the challenge, not just to PGH, but the rest of whoever TBUP reaches in terms of medical training. At really, the key to our success in the future are the young ones. Ito talaga yung dapat investan natin. And I think the robot is a good investment to train these people.
Sinasabi ni Gap na Team B, no? Team B. Okay. Raymond, over to you.
Okay. Question, but this relates to your question kapag nawala ng kuryente. So, have there been instances that in the middle of the operation, the machine stops working? And if that's so, what do you do during those instances, Dr. Nico?
Oh, well,
Yes,
just like any other surgery, laparoscopic surgery or robotic surgery, we are always prepared to do the surgery under open circumstances, meaning we will make the incision. So when we secure consent for the procedure, it's always robotic surgery, possible open surgery all the time. So there are instances where the machine has bogged down, so we convert it to open surgery. But of course, we assess at that point in time when machine bogs down, we try to do quick diagnostics. If it will take too long, or if it will sacrifice the care of patients, then we convert right there and then. So, but it has happened quite a few times.
Amazing. Okay. Do you have any more questions, Raymond? Because we are running out of time.
I don't have any more. I just
let's go to the fun quiz. Let's go to the fun quiz.
Okay. Can we have the Slido po at saka yung poll on the screen? So these are the 3 questions that we have. We're just waiting for the Slido to be shown on the screen. But the first question that we have here, I'll ask sana si Dr. Berbarabe. What about it? Kasi galing kay Sir to. But we're waiting lang for Slido to show up for that, so that everyone can see it on the screen. TVUP. So while waiting, I'll just read it off the screen. No. First question is, what is robotic surgery? Kasi nga lang hindi makita ng iba sa They are looking for it in Slido. If Sino ba magpe-present sa atin? Okay.
Yan na, papasok na. Okay.
Okay, first question, yan po. What is robotic surgery?
What's the correct answer?
The correct answer, although they gave it to me, the correct answer po would be letter A. So robotic surgery means robot-assisted surgery or surgery performed by the surgeon with assistance of robot. So it's not something that will not need human control. It's not something that will require artificial intelligence, not something that causes oftentimes na accidents or morbidities to the patient. Question number 2. For question number 2, can we have it on the screen? Yeah. Which statement is true? Yun. Again, the correct statement po is letter A. Robotic surgery affords the surgeon a greater range of motion and dexterity compared to laparoscopic surgery. So that's something that very, very helpful for us and not really done for all types of surgeries. And as mentioned during the presentation. Third question that we have, what is the name of the most common surgical robot? So I think you know this. Nakita nyo na rin po siya dun sa dun sa mga videos, dun sa mga presentations, etc. Yung pong Da Vinci. Yung pong Da Vinci is the most common surgical robot used around the world. So thank you so much to the Department of Surgery. Thank you to the Director of the Philippine General Hospital, Dr. Gap Legaspi, and thank you po to Dr. Barbrabe, Dr. Magsanok, Dr. Alip, Dr. Serrano, and Dr. Monroy for that excellent set of presentations po that we have.
Cute nila, no? They're in one room. Teka, pero meron pala akong question dito sa phone ko. I'm gonna ask Nico.
Sige.
Nico, ang question dito. Is there technology that merges artificial intelligence with robotic surgery? Meron bang mga robot ngayon na ginagawa na nag-oopera or merong certain procedures na ginagawa na hindi kailangan ng tao?
Ma'am, for actual operation, there is none yet as we speak. But I'm sure in the horizon it will eventually come. But of course, surgeon will still be on top of it. But there are AI models already that's existing in assessing the surgical competence of either the resident or the trainee, and it's AI-based. It's already AI-based. So, would they have an equivalent score? Should they do this, hold this way? It's all equated, gauged through AI. So there is AI in robotic surgery, and for every field for that matter, I believe.
Oo, palagay ko to si Nico, magandang in the future kausapin tungkol sa ibang toys pa eh. Okay yan ha. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I think we're going to our evaluation now, Raymond. So let's go.
Thank you, Dr. Susie. Can we have it on there? There we go. So, we do not send out a separate evaluation poll. Ito na po yun. You should be able to see it on your screen. It says panel discussion poll. It's 5 questions, 4-point Likert scale, and we'll read the questions. While I'm reading it, all of our speakers, sana po nag-iisip na po kayo ng inyong 1 to 2 minute po na final message to our audience that you would want the audience to take away from the webinar for today. First question, the panelists demonstrated thorough knowledge of the topic. Number 2, panelists were well prepared and organized. Number 3, the panelists spoke clearly and audibly. Number 4, the panelists used appropriate language or technical medical jargons adequately explained. And finally, the panelists contributed to new perspectives and knowledge on managing various key health issues. So we'll not be closing this until the end of the webinar. Dr. Susie will now move on to the parting messages from our speakers.
Sige. So, short messages from everyone. We'll start with Dr. Monroy.
Well, good afternoon again. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share our experience with the robotic surgery, and really hoping that we will increase our experience and eventually, as mentioned earlier, train all our residents with this new and exciting technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's go to Dr. Dennis Serrano.
Thank you also, everyone. I think the final message that I'd like to impart is that we as surgeons, right now in 2023 or in this century, are at the precipice of the next generation of technological advancements in surgery, and we should be prepared to meet that. We should be prepared to embrace it. We should be prepared to adopt and adapt And I think that's the key. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Dr. Via Alip. Via, go ahead.
Hello to all the surgeons po in the audience. We left the QR code. So if you have a patient who wants to have the surgery done here in PGH, robotics is technically free for your patient. So please don't hesitate to reach out and we'll get in touch with you to help our patients avail of the service. Thank you.
Oh, we will play it. We will play it on the webinar before the show starts, so that people can go back to it and remember it. Thanks so much, Via. Nico.
My final parting words will be, giving credit where credit is due, which I mentioned, the three people which gave us this platform where we can practice our craft and advance our craft, actually. Dr. Gonzalez, Dr. Serrano, and Dr. Legaspi. Thank you again very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Gap.
The director has had to leave for another meeting.
Eric.
Si Sir Eric Berbrabe na lang.
In behalf of
ikaw nga tinawag ko muna. Go.
Well, ang final message is the University of the Philippines, Manila College of Medicine, and the Philippine General Hospital is committed naman to lead the country in training. And so this is really a call for anyone in the audience we need your support. Alam naman, sinabi na nga nila, this is not easy to finance, but we're committing to leading the country in training our future residents and fellows and to serve the Filipino better. So thank you very much for this opportunity for the Department of Surgery of the UPPGH to share our pioneering experience in training and delivering robotic surgery to the Filipino patient.
Thank you very much. This is Dr. Eric Berbrabe. He's the chair of the Department of Surgery of PGH. And thank you, Eric, for the time that went into, I know you had discussions, you had to choose the cases and all of that. But I think the benefit is really going to our audience and to the people who are going to watch this on the playback. Not everyone watches it at noontime, but you will see later on that it does go viral and sometimes thousands of people go back to the webinar. All right. So for our closing remarks, before we do that, panel evaluation results. Raymond, do you want to do that?
Okay. Hoping that we will still have less than 70%, but after reading through all of this, it's one of the higher rated po, Dr. Susie, na webinar natin. At least 97% of them indicated that they strongly agree with all of the statements. Just a testament to the quality of the content that was shared, as well as the quality of our speakers. So thank you so much to the Department of Surgery and to the director of the PGH, Dr. Gap Legaspi.
Thank you. Now for the closing, we have a brief synthesis from head of the Office of Expanded Education and Training of PGH, Dr. Stella Marie Legaspi Jose. Now, Stella, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. For our webinar today, robotic surgery was a dream come true for our director, Dr. Gap Legaspi, together with Dr. Jose Gonzalez, who was the director at that time. Dr. Gap's vision that PGH should be at the forefront of minimally invasive surgery / robotic surgery. We heard Dr. Nico Magsano, Dr. Via Alip, Dr. Denny Serrano, and Dr. Hermogenes Monroy, and Dr. Eric Berbrabe, who spoke on their experiences with robotic surgery. I would like to commend the surgeons who spoke today. Their dedication and service to our charity patients and their desire to teach others on robotic surgery is really commendable. My take on this is Da Vinci is a robot, but it is really the surgeons and our faculty who are the gold in this venture. And as a short anecdote, when there was a PGH fire, when the fire was already controlled, it was Dr. Legaspi who saved the Da Vinci robot because the firemen were going to wet already the place, the OR, and it's good that he remembered to take out the Da Vinci robot. That's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Stella, for that synthesis. And thank you so much to the Department of Surgery totoong mga rockstar po sila. Talagang walang biro. The rockstars of surgery now. And we are really hoping that medicine in the country will really modernize in this way. They've shown so many benefits, and pabuhay kayo for all the hard work you're doing. All right, next week. Next week. Ako speaker next week, Raymond. The topic is sea level rise. Okay, yung pagtaas ng dagat. No, so we are going to have the first policy forum of the National Panel of Technical Experts of the Climate Change Commission, which I co-chair. And we thought that we do the first one with this audience so that we can talk about sea level rise, yung pagtaas ba ng dagat. And we're going to have with us speakers from the Visayas and from Mindanao who have done studies on how the sea level is rising in different parts of the country. So we are also expecting a lot of students from the state universities. So we invite you to invite people to watch it, because very rarely is sea level rise discussed. I will handle the health part of it, but Dr. Ed Mangawang, Dr. Nathaniel Alibuyog, and Engineer Miriam Santillan are the experts who will be with us. So hindi po sila mga doctors of medicine, they are climate scientists. So please join us next week as we talk about sea level rise. Malulunod ba tayo? So yun ang ating topic next week. Raymond, over to you.
Okay, abangan namin yan, partner. So very much what we'll need someone to maybe help me co-host the entire thing, Dr. Susie, for next week. Very, very exciting stuff. And hopefully we could get Secretary Borge for his message in the webinar for next week.
Pero baka yung plano mong co-host pumayag pa rin. Sana nakikita siya ngayon. So, we had planned for Secretary Ted Herbosa to be the co-host next week. And we know how busy he is right now. So, papaumanhin natin kung hindi siya makakarating, pero malay natin, baka, pagbigyan tayo. Go ahead, Raymond.
Thank you so much, Dr. Susie. So before we end with our webinar po for today, we just wanted to mention that all Stop COVID Deaths webinars are archived for viewing at the TVUP YouTube channel. So you just go to www.youtube.com/TVUPPH for you to be able to see all 148 after today 149 webinars na po siya. And also we understand everybody's very busy, so we have selected po very short videos, very consumable videos, so 1 to 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, but no more than 5 minutes, that we lovingly call SCD Shorts, also found at the youtube.com/TVUPPH na page po natin. So if you're waiting for your coffee, waiting for the bus, waiting for the train, if you will be able to gain nuggets of wisdom for this, for those that you will be choosing to watch in our SED Shorts. So this formally closes po our webinar for the week, and we look forward again to your company next Friday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. It's a date.
Together, we can stop COVID deaths.
So keep safe, keep healthy, and see you online.